So now let's get more on the severe weather that's been battering homes in New South Wales overnight. Our reporter Rachel Pupazzoni is near Wollongong, one of the worst affected areas. Rachel, good morning to you. Now it looks like the weather there is pretty severe.
It's very severe, Kumi. We're currently experiencing some very strong wind gusts where we are. We're just near Wollongong on the Illawarra highway, and these wind gusts are coming through. I'm actually finding it quite hard to stand upright, to be honest with you. As you may be able to see behind me, this area has been cut off by floodwaters. The paddocks to the right and the left of me are flooded. It's like there are waves in the paddocks at the moment, Kumi. The winds are so strong and there is so much water. Now this is a scene that's been experienced across parts of the Illawarra, and now the Bureau of Meteorology is saying that conditions are going to get worse today, that the peak has not yet hit. Now this is a storm system that hit Sydney last night and has come down south the early hours of this morning, and as you can see, it's really coming down quite strong now, and emergency services have responded to more than 500, almost 600 calls for help throughout the evening. 35 flood rescues have occurred throughout the evening as well in Sydney and the Illawarra where we are. There's been reports of hailstorms, some as big as 20-cent pieces, and as you mentioned a little earlier in the program, that tornado, that mini tornado in Dubbo. Now, the State Emergency Service is advising people to stay indoors. These conditions are very bleak, very dreary, and of course there are concerns for people's safety and welfare. So stay indoors, stay out of the weather as it continues to worsen this morning here in the Illawarra region.
And Rachel, we can see sort of just a little bit of that road remaining there behind you when you're driving to Wollongong today. A lot of roads cut off, and were there, was traffic sort of at a standstill and people not wanting to get out because of a lot of these concerns, of course, that people try to get to work and then go through these flooded waterways, but hopefully not many cars on the road.
It was quite interesting, Kumi, as we drove down. It takes a little over an hour at the time that we drove this morning from Sydney, and there was a lot of traffic heading north, as a lot of people do live in this area but drive to Sydney for work. But as we were driving down, the weather conditions actually weren't that bad. My cameraman and I were commenting on how it really didn't seem that severe, but in the half an hour or so that we've been in this location, the weather has just deteriorated, which is what the Bureau predicted, that it would worsen. So I think if you haven't left home now, I would advise staying inside, and I'm sure that's what the State Emergency Service would be saying as these conditions are expected to worsen throughout the day.
Okay, Rachel Pupazzoni, we want to get you out of that rain and safe. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, nice work, Rachel. I bet she was wishing she never left home this morning.
Exactly, that warm cup of coffee sitting on the desk.
Stay safe. Now, the Prime Minister